Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm your host, Sam DeCoste. We start tonight in Las Vegas, where Jon Gruden resigned as Raiders head coach in disgrace. Reports coming out last week from the Wall Street Journal and New York Times leaking a series of racist, misogynistic, and homophobic emails sent by Gruden over a course of 7 years. These emails leaking thanks to the NFL's investigation into the Washington football team's workplace dysfunction. Once these emails saw the light of day, Gruden had no choice but to step down. A man who was once Mark Davis's dream hire at head coach to lead the Raiders into the Las Vegas era and an adored figure by Raiders Nation everywhere was found out. He's no leader of men and not a deserving one of one of the 32 teams in the NFL, and certainly not this one that he was coaching. The Raiders are historically a beacon of community in the NFL and an instrumental one in challenging stereotypical barriers in sports. The late Al Davis pioneered the franchise's commitment to inclusion during his ownership, well before the rest of the NFL caught up. He hired the first ever black coach in league history in 1989, Art Shell. He hired Tom Flores, a future Hall of Famer, to become the second ever Latino head coach in NFL history in 1979. He promoted Amy Trask as the first ever female chief executive on an NFL team in 1997. And just 4 months ago, Raiders pass rusher Carl Nassib came out as the first active, openly gay player in the NFL. And that may be the most heartbreaking twist to this awful story. For a trailblazer in the sport to be subjected to a Jon Gruden locker room, any words of support Gruden shared publicly or with Nassib privately have to be considered fraudulent in hindsight. The Raiders are one of the NFL's most noble franchises, and it's because of their unified, inclusive, communal spirit. Historically, the Raiders have never cared who you are, what you look like, where you come from. They don't care about any of that. If you've got the spirit of humanity, a relentless desire to win, and you can play, that's all that mattered to Al Davis. That matters a whole lot more than their Lombardi Trophy cabinet. It's about building a community in the locker room, in the stands, and around the nation, Raider Nation. Gruden defies everything this franchise stood for, and it's brought shame to the Raiders' shield. And what a shame it is to see a Super Bowl winning head coach, a former icon of Monday Night Football broadcasting, and one of the faces of the NFL over the last 3 decades, to bring dishonor to himself, the Raiders, and the NFL. Of course, these emails were reportedly sent a long time ago. Gruden's emails stem from 2011 to 2018 before he was rehired to coach the Raiders. The emails stopped 3 years ago, which is a long time for someone to change, you would think. And now that Gruden is untethered and that his NFL coaching career is virtually over, he'll have all the time in the world to change his ways. I just hope that in the last 10 years, Gruden has taken time along the way to educate himself, and that he has gotten better, and that he will continue to get better. Because now he's paid the price for his mistakes, and even the Raiders can't give him a second chance. Let's move on and bring in the box score team to help me coronate the WNBA champions, the Chicago Sky. The WNBA finals coming to an end on Sunday, where the Sky defeated the Phoenix Mercury in 4 games, Chicago winning its first ever WNBA championship. I am now joined by a dynamic duo of correspondents and resident WNBA experts, Jaclyn Galvin and Ben Sher. Guys, the reaction from Candace Parker and the team after the game says it all. Winning her second title and the first for Chicago in her hometown. How special is that?
That's so special. To me, I mean, She was in LA for years, and then choosing to go back home to Chicago, that must have taken a lot from her to leave, where she calls home, where she does her broadcast from. She talked to, she mentioned Dwayne Wade. Obviously, he had that, great return home to Chicago. So I know for a fact that that was definitely a large consideration, and wow, bringing it home in your first year back, great job, Candace Parker.
Yeah, absolutely. And just what it means to Chicago. I mean, we were talking about it earlier, but what has Chicago had to root for in basketball in the last couple of years? I mean,
not much.
Not much. And, Chicago for any sport, always rabid, always really trying to show their full support. I mean, I'm thinking back to Game 3 when it was like a 33-point blowout,
yeah.
And that cheer for that last three at the end of the game it just like made my heart warm. I'm not even from Chicago. I don't have like necessarily a connection to the community, but it just made it I think it kind of united everyone in the feeling of like, this was a really monumental moment.
So Kahleah Copper was the MVP of the finals,
yeah.
And what a performance she put up to get the win for the Sky.
Yeah, definitely. And she definitely earned her nickname KFC, Kahleah freaking Copper. Wow, what a performance that she had. Game 1 put up 21 points and 10 rebounds. Game 3, 22 points, and 20 of those came in the first half of the game before, the Mercury decided to shut her down. But overall, wow, it's also great that she's so young. I think this is she's on the younger half of this team. There are some definitely seasoned veterans that we'll talk about in a little bit, but just her presence, she really broke out in the bubble last year, and now, wow, great job, Kahleah Copper. Very proud.
Yeah, and truly, I think my performer of the series was Allie Quigley.
Yeah.
She just had one of the nicest games in a closeout, just one of the nicest closeout games I've seen in a long time. 26 points, 5 three-pointers, and she was really getting to every spot she wanted to on the floor. Going back, looking at the footage, even watching during the game, it was very clear. She got basically every single shot she wanted. It was precise, it was clean, it was just great basketball. And that's what you want in your finals.
And talk about a power couple as well, if I may. We have Quigley and Courtney Vandersloot. They're married and they're teammates.
Yeah.
And they've been through it all with the Chicago Sky, but together on the court this year, they were able to get it done and win a championship. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I would honestly say that Vandersloot is one of the greatest facilitators that I've ever seen play the game, both in the women's game and the men's game. She was all over the court in their win. She was creating opportunity after opportunity. There was one in particular with that steal into like an alley-oop, basically. It was so chef's kiss, so great. And she also put up a triple-double, the second triple-double in WNBA finals history, and was one rebound away from getting that triple-double in the final. In their post-game press conference, Candace Parker was like, "Why didn't you tell me that you were one rebound away? I would have let you get that one at the end, and you would have gotten one," which clearly shows how unselfish that Candace Parker is for, wanting her teammate to get that triple-double at the end and not, herself and running to celebrate with her family. But yeah, she was definitely one of the most valuable players throughout this series as well. But sometimes the scoring stats are a little bit more looked at than the created assists and created opportunities, which is definitely more Vandersloot's style of play.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think it's important to look at the other team in this series. We got the Phoenix Mercury here, and looking at the makeup of these teams with Chicago, you knew it was going to be a team effort. I mean, in 11 different players scored in Game 3 for Chicago. And looking at Phoenix, it really was kind of Taurasi and Griner. You needed those two to show up every single night, and it really didn't happen. Taurasi in particular had a really bad shooting night. Game 3 shot 1 for 10. 1 for 8 from 3.
That's the worst shooting percentage in WNBA finals history, was that Game 3. They
yeah.
got destroyed.
Voted.
She's the GOAT. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
she definitely still is one of the greatest of
Obviously.
all time to ever, grace that court. But like you said.
Yeah, and it just felt like if they were going to win this series, it had to be every single night, Griner and Taurasi showing up. Griner absolutely did. She had an amazing series. In fact, she scored 28 points in the final game. It was neutralized by Quigley, which was really important for her. But, it is what it is, and congratulations to Chicago.
And for Taurasi, it's especially hurtful because she is 39 years old and she has admitted that she's considering retiring and hanging it up. So that could be her last look at Taurasi's career, and that could be the case. What do you think? That'd be a big shame, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That was how she went out.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I wanted to point out is that the Skies, their stadium was completely sold out for their last game, which I think is a really huge accomplishment for the WNBA. We're always talking about growing the game, especially in women's sports, and to have some big names like even Chance the Rapper was there supporting his hometown team. So that was a really great thing to see for the game itself. And they had record-breaking viewership as well. So that's something that is really great for the WNBA, and I'm super excited to see next season how they take it up a notch.
And the Chicago Sky were the 6th seed, and they were able to go on this fairy tale run. It's really an incredible run that they went on. But let's move on and go to a quick commercial break. But when we come back, we're going to hand out some silverware in Major League Baseball. We'll tell you who's walking away with the highest individual honors that MLB can offer. Stay tuned.
Kill yourself or get over it. Life is unfair. Kill yourself or get over it. Life is unfair. Kill yourself or get over it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jared Tatro on the street for Common Sense, a game show for normal people to test their life skills and average knowledge. But today we're going to harass some Emerson College students to see if they have any knowledge of daily life skills. They probably don't, but who knows? Some of them might surprise me. Let's find out. Excuse me. How many inches are in a foot?
4, I don't know.
No, 12! Ma'am, excuse me. What colors are on the American flag?
Purple Emerson colors.
Oh my God! What is wrong with you? Excuse me, ma'am. Who is the most recent winner of Best Actress at the Academy Awards?
Genevieve Powley. That's me.
I don't have time for this. Goodbye. How much money is 1,000 euros in United States currency? What? Excuse me, sir. What is the capital of Virginia?
Richmond?
I think that's true. Yes, correct. Have a good day. Excuse me, sir. Who's the president of France? They don't know. All right, let's go. I think I scared them. I think they were younger than I thought. Excuse me. What is objectively the best planet?
Pluto.
No, wrong. No, it's the sun. The sun is like the king of planets. Goodbye.
Welcome back to the Box Score. I am joined once again by Jaclyn and Ben, and we welcome to the show Chris Consoli. With the baseball playoffs winding down and the World Series on the horizon, our correspondents have cast their votes for MLB awards like Cy Young, Manager of the Year, and MVP. We'll have to wait until next month to learn the actual winners, but it's never too early to start talking about it. As a reminder, these are regular season awards. Playoff performances cannot influence the voting. Sorry, Kike Hernandez. Chris, let's start with you. Give me your Cy Young winner this year.
All right, so for the AL, I picked Robbie Ray because, he led the league, or he led the American League in innings, games, starts, wins, hits, innings pitched, strikeouts, and ERA. So, he's pretty much got it locked down. The AL was kind of boring this year, but I want to hear what Ben and Jaclyn have to say about this.
I definitely agree with the AL, but for the NL, my biggest one is Zach Wheeler from the Phillies. He had a 2.78 ERA. He was an all-star for the first time this season, which I think is a great nod to him. He also pitched more than 6 innings in a game 20 times. That is crazy. That's almost unheard of nowadays, especially as a Red Sox fan, of your starter going more than 6 innings. So that's kind of why, one of the main reasons why I had Zach Wheeler as my NL Cy Young Award.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you, Chris, on the Robbie Ray. It, basically led every major statistical category. There's not much you can argue over that. Also, it was kind of a 2-man race. You had Garrett Cole in there, but kind of fell off towards the end of the season.
He also cheated, so.
He also,
there's
he
that.
really just.
They both had good seasons, but at the end of the day, the stats are going to tell the story from the pitchers. And also both playing in one of the toughest divisions in baseball, like we've had in a long time, and the most competitive.
Yeah.
Robbie Ray was a vote for all of you guys, and you're all on the Robbie Ray train. But I think Chris, you interestingly had Max Scherzer. You want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I had Max Scherzer because me and Zach Wheeler do not have a good history in person. He's just not a nice guy.
In person?
Doesn't like fans. No, he doesn't like fans. He just likes to turn his back and not,
Has
hear me.
Scherzer wronged you in any, or Wheeler?
Oh no, Wheeler has. We don't like him. But Max Scherzer, I mean, he's always just been a very scary guy to go against. He'd strike out a lot of strikeouts, a 15-4 record. He pitched 30 games. He had a 2.46 ERA. He was kept it very tidy this season. I mean, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have too much just because I wanted to focus more on the AL for this, but generally, like, it felt a little bit more competitive in the NL, which is why I feel like we have multiple options here and multiple good options to choose from. It's just tale of two different stories in two different leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we move on?
Yes.
It seems like we're all in agreement. Let's talk about manager of the year. Jaclyn, you picked the Giants manager. The Giants came out of nowhere and surprised everyone this year, being a World Series favorite before what happened. But talk about the season the Giants had and what the manager had to do with that.
That was a crusher when they lost to the Dodgers, but they completely outperformed their expectations. There is a lot of star power on that roster, but not a lot of well-known names, I would argue, to the average baseball fan. And they won 107 games. That is like unheard of, and especially when you're in the same division as the Dodgers, like. Wow, kudos to you, Gabe Kapler. It's the most wins in franchise history. I love the Dodgers. Or not the Dodgers, whoa. I love the Giants, so that's kudos to you. Yeah.
Now, Chris, you had Alex Cora as your pick.
No.
Oh, that was me.
That was Ben.
That was me.
Just kidding.
That's
Alex
ridiculous.
Cora.
No.
That's ridiculous.
This is a
Kevin
contentious subject here.
Yeah, very.
And now look, I get that playoffs, you can't use the playoffs to decide regular season's award. But let me just say, the Red Sox had the 4th pick in the draft last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this was going to be a competitive division. I don't think many people saw the Red Sox making the playoffs necessarily just because of how bad we were last season. And we all knew how much Cora meant to this team before this season. But I think he's just proved again and again.
I just think the offense for the Red Sox has so much star power. Like, everyone on this team. And so having a coach like Cora come in obviously is definitely a help, but he didn't do much to, rally the troops in, like, making them hit better. I mean, he definitely did, but, it's still...
He had to do something
He
because
had
the
to
Red
do
Sox
something.
they were a
agree.
bottom feeder last year, and now they went to the wild card, and they're also a few wins away from the World Series. He did something
but
with
the
that.
talent was all there. If you're
No, I
comparing
agree.
that to someone like Scott Servais from the Mariners, who is a baseball player that you can name from the Mariners right now? Any one of
No,
you?
listen, I agree
can
with
tell
Jaclyn.
you multiple from the Red Sox who were all stars.
I just want to agree with Jaclyn because I just want to say that last week or 2 weeks ago when we were on the show making predictions, everything I said happened because I talked about the deep power in the lineup. It wasn't a lot of Cora. Yes, Cora's great and we love Cora, but all of the deep power in the lineup was the thing that led them to as far as they got. I mean, it's just a bunch of high-scoring games, and it's all because of the deep power in the lineup.
Yep.
Bogarts even showed up. He wasn't hitting home runs, but there were multiple people in that lineup that hit over 25 home runs in that. That was a crazy lineup. It was ridiculous, unheard of.
Well, a lot of awesome candidates for manager of the year for sure. Let's talk about the big one, the most coveted award in baseball. Of course, it's the MVP award. All of you are pretty much in unison that
It's
there's
showtime,
one man
baby.
that deserves it above everyone else. Let's talk about him.
It's showtime, baby. We all know it. We all got to talk about it.
Let's go.
I mean, there's not much to say about it. I mean,
Well, there's a
if
lot
you-
to say
if you
about it.
argue-
He's the
yeah,
There's so
MVP
much to say that
winner.
there
I mean,
isn't
in the
a lot to
argument,
say.
he's literally, if you break it down to most valuable player, he is the most valuable player in all of baseball, not only the NL
He
or the AL.
saved baseball,
He saved-
arguably.
Yeah.
I mean, just watching shows, just like general talk sports shows, the big ones nowadays are basketball and football. When you have a player like Shohei Ohtani, who's coming in and is pitching and hitting. Are you kidding me? He's the Babe Ruth of our era. And
Does it matter that the Angels were very bad this year?
No.
Does it matter
No.
one bit?
Because that
No.
wasn't a surprise. We
No.
knew that was going to happen. They
Yeah.
didn't have Mike Trout. It's Showtime. It was Showtime. It's still Showtime.
Yeah.
It's never going to not be Showtime.
Yeah, and
Like,
if
he
you
stepped up, that's it.
If you really believe that there should be another MVP from the AL, Shohei deserves your vote for the spectacle. What pitcher has 97 RBIs in the same season?
He has 46 home runs. That's like
He has 26 stolen bases.
Yeah, exactly.
He has
exactly.
318 total
Yeah,
bases.
but obviously that is like the show. He is the show for the AL, but for the NL, I feel like there's like definitely a lot of cool talent that is in there that could be considered for MVP. Personally, I have Juan Soto. He only had 29 home runs, but he had 145 walks this year, which I think goes to show how feared he is in the league, that people don't want to pitch to him.
Yeah, no, but I want to bring it back to what you were talking about before, is how everyone's talking about all the other sports and bringing eyes to baseball, because baseball is kind of on the decline. As much as I hate to see it, it's happening. But that is where I'm going to bring in my boy, Fernando Tatis Jr., because he's exciting, he's fun to watch, and he led the league, he led the NL in home runs, didn't even play a full season. He batted pretty high, he batted almost 300, didn't hit 300, but he didn't hit as well as Soto in terms of average, but he produced, and he made it a lot of fun to watch.
If you're noticing a pattern with these MVP picks, a lot of players that are playing on very bad teams that you guys are just universally claiming they are the MVP. But if you go to football or basketball, it's a totally different conversation.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Why is it so different in baseball?
I think because the voting through baseball there's always been contention for years and years, just with what's been happening generally. And just to round out the NL MVP discussion, I was going with Bryce Harper. To me, it was kind of like a two-man race with Soto, but he hit 309, league-leading slugging and OPS, and I just think that speaks for itself.
Well, we'll see who ends up taking away those awards very soon. But we're going to pivot from baseball to football, where NFL kickers made NFL history with 25 combined missed kicks in Week 5. It was a really bad week. It was a historically horrible weekend for NFL kickers and had all of us scratching our heads. So we put our correspondents to the test this week to see if any of our own on the box score has what it takes to make a kick. Just one. Let's see how they did.
Thanks, Sam. We're here at Harry Downs Field in Brookline. So we came here to kick some extra points, but unfortunately we got kicked off the field by a bunch of middle schoolers. But special teams are still important. So today we're going to be kicking some punts, seeing who in the cast can punt it the farthest. Here at the box score, we adapt, we overcome. That's what we're doing here today. Starting it off, the one and only Cooper Sherman. Mimicking his idol Jake Bailey. Cooper with the punt. And that's not a bad punt, folks. That is not a bad punt at all for the first of the day. Not much to match it up against, but let's see Cooper's reaction here.
Let's go. It's definitely what I wanted. Got some good air under that ball, a very good sound to that punt, and overall we're just feeling great today. The legs are feeling really good right now.
Danielle Dubois now stepping into kick. No relation, folks. No relation. Newcomer here. We're not sure what to expect, and that's that, folks. I'm not sure what to add. You saw it. You saw it all right there.
Wasn't my best kick, but I'll come out next week and do even better.
It's a weekly thing now, so I'm glad that you have that attitude. But Danielle, thank you for coming out here today. Chris Consoli channeling his inner Marcus Mariota today. Don't think he understood the assignment. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe he did after all. Oh, well, it's just a tank top under there, but whatever, better than a quarterback's jersey nonetheless. You heard what Chris had to say before the matchup here today. Surprised at Cooper's standing as the betting favorite. We saw what Cooper brought. Now it's time to see what Chris has. And some serious air there, folks, but a little wayward towards the right. See a referee down there marking it. A bit of a shank, as he heard from Cooper. Folks, there's a serious dispute as to who is the winner between the first kicks. Over here to my right, you see the mark for Chris's kick, marked by that football. If you follow me this way, where our referee Lexi's heading, we have a marker there. I believe it is a cell phone, by the way. That makes sense. This was where Cooper's kick landed. You saw where we kicked from. You guys be the judge. I'm not sure. None of us are sure. We're not going to make that call. We're going to go to a tiebreaker. If you were to get a second attempt, how do you think you would do?
Way better. I can definitely shank that a little bit. Definitely can get. Yeah, I can get a little bit more out of that, honestly.
Due to some disputes over the starting point and the target, we've now implemented targets for each. Here, you can see a water bottle marking where we start off. And over, you can see Lexi standing off in the distance. That's where our kickers are going to be targeting. So Cooper up first after Chris won the toss and deferred. Let's see what he's got. Cooper with the kick. Oh, folks. And we thought we saw something in the first kick, but perhaps it was just a flash in the pan. Cooper, please.
Got to work on the consistency of the kicks. Yeah, it's tough. It's real tough.
You heard what Cooper had to say. Now let's see if Chris can respond. Chris stepping into kick now. Cooper setting a relatively low bar. We'll see if Chris can clinch the championship right here. And here's the kick. Oh, and it's a landslide, folks. It's just a landslide. It's the farthest kick of the day by what seems like a mile, if you ask me. And I wish we had a trophy or something to hand Chris right now. I'm trying to get him, trying to flag him down for a post-game interview here. Chris, if you please. So, I mean, it speaks for itself, Chris. You're the champion. Congratulations. What were you thinking when you saw Cooper's kick right?
Oh, that was a great feeling. I mean, I felt like I won the World Series right there. I mean, it was, I don't know. I just had to finish the job, honestly.
Well, folks, it didn't go exactly how we planned today, but Christopher is a champion nonetheless. So congratulations once again to him. As a box score, we always strive to persevere, and I feel like we did that here today. Throw it back to you, Sam.
Harder than it looks, isn't it? Just remember, guys, kickers are athletes too. Even the cast needs to be reminded of that sometimes. We're going to take one more break, but when we come back, we're going to figure out how the 76ers can trade Ben Simmons. Stick around.
And when I arrive at my destination, I am going to kill Bill.
What? Oh, okay, cutting. Sorry, can we get some of this?
Where in God's name is the gaffer's tape?
Hi, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Casey, and we're the National Broadcasting Society.
Come out to some of our weekly workshops, or work on some of our sets.
Explore the bigger picture with NBS.
We'll see you there.
All right, let's get another take. Camera, sound.
Welcome back. Now we pivot to the NBA. The regular season has just begun, but there's still one question still left unanswered. Where will Ben Simmons play this season? Simmons is under contract with the Philadelphia 76ers, but he's told the team he wants a trade. He didn't show up to training camp for the first 2 weeks, and on his third day back with the team, Doc Rivers tossed him out of practice for not participating. Simmons has been fined roughly $1.4 million to date for holding out and was even handed a one-game suspension by the team. Point blank, Simmons says he does not want to play for the Sixers ever again. The problem is whether or not another team wants to strike a deal for him. That's where we come in. We are going to simulate trade discussions with NBA general managers, not really, portrayed by our correspondents, to send Simmons out of Philly and see how much he's actually worth. With that, from this point forward, I am not Sam DeCoste. I am Simmons' agent, Rich Paul, and I am calling the New York Knicks GM Scott Perry, played by Chris, to negotiate a trade for my client. So I'm going to call Chris right now. No, I'm going to call Scott. There's Scott. Boot to boot.
Scott Perry.
Hey, Scott, listen.
Sam, how we doing?
No, about Sam, it's Rich. Who's Sam?
Oh,
listen,
Rich, how we doing?
I got a deal for you. Ready? What if I told you that you could have a 3-time All-Star and a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year on your team?
Uh-huh. I'm listening.
What if I told you it was Ben Simmons?
Ooh. Let me look at the old depth chart here.
Listen, I've seen your depth chart. It's great. You have scorers. You have Kemba. You have Fournier. You have all of these weapons that could score threes. And I know Benny can't shoot threes. It's one of my client's weaknesses. But that being said, he can be a monster in the paint. He can be the facilitator of this team. He can make you guys a better team and lift you guys up in the East. Why wouldn't you want Benny?
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. New York loves RJ. And, we just got Kemba.
You're saying RJ's better than Ben Simmons? Are you? Come on, Scott.
Listen.
You're a GM.
In New York, it's not about who's better. It's about who we like. We stick to our guns in New York. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm telling you right now? Listen, we like Kemba. We just got Kemba. But his
Listen.
knee is like grandma's hip, you know? Listen, talk to me nice and maybe we can make a deal here. Come on, talk to me.
Tom Thibodeau's an old school coach. Give him an old school shooter, bro. Come on. We have a deal or not?
Listen, I'm going to be straight with you. No. Thank you very much.
Well, that didn't work. All right, now I'm going to call the Brooklyn Nets general manager, Sean Marks, played by Jaclyn. All right, there's Sean. Answer the phone, please. Please pick up the phone. Hello?
Sean.
Sean, how are you? It's Rich.
Oh,
all right, listen.
Rich.
Come on. Okay, listen. I know you guys have a great operation over there in Brooklyn. I know you guys are trying to close the gap between you and Milwaukee, and Ben Simmons is the man to do it.
Well, we kind of have a little bit of a PR situation going on over here with another one of our guards. So
Kyrie Irving?
Yeah, I just don't really think that Ben would be the guy to go to fix that
Let's
issue.
talk about Kyrie because listen, we all know he's never playing basketball again.
We
Who
don't
knows
know
if he's
that.
ever going to get his head?
We don't actually know that. We
Listen,
are still holding on to hope over here in Brooklyn. That's all I'll say.
Let's say overnight he wakes up, I'm going to get vaccinated. That'll take about
that'd
2
be
to
great.
3 months
We love that.
just for him to be eligible to play. That'll take months for that to happen.
Yeah, but
and
we
you
still
expect
have KD.
him, first of all,
we still got James Harden. I just
Sean,
really
please, let me talk. You had your turn. Let me talk. Listen, if you want to be a good team, you guys have the best isolation scorers in the league, but you don't have any defense. You can't stop a cold on defense. You get Ben Simmons, an all-star, a defensive juggernaut. Your team is much better than they were last year. They're a better team with Simmons, without Kyrie Irving right now.
You know what the Nets say. The best defense is a good offense. I'll talk to you another time. Have a good one, Rich.
I thought I had her there. Okay. Lastly, I'm going to talk to the GM of the Portland Trail Blazers, Neil Oshley, played by Ben. All right. Neil's on my contacts. Boop, boop, boop. Hello?
Go for Neil.
Neil. Hey, bro. So listen, I'm having trouble. I've been talking to GMs around the league, and I'm trying to get my client, Ben Simmons, happy. He's not happy in Philly. He's really miserable. I hate to see him like this. Listen, Portland, you guys need another superstar to pair with Dame Lillard, if he even stays. CJ McCollum isn't doing the job for you. You guys got to make a move for my guy, Benny.
See, you're saying we got to make a move, but we're trying to still take the next step here. We don't know.
What's that step?
That step probably doesn't involve having a non-shooter on our team.
You guys are floating in space right now. You're a first-round team. That's all you are. If you get Ben Simmons, you have another superstar to pair with Dame Lillard. You ascend in the West. You might even win a playoff series. I know you can't really do those in Portland, but if you get him...
Okay, listen. Look, if you're saying that the Ben Simmons replacement for, say, McCollum is what you want to do, so what? Do we go from a first-round team in your eyes to a second-round team?
Oh, yeah.
Ben Simmons...
Oh, yeah.
Ben Simmons does not show us that he has that championship pedigree. And could you imagine Ben Simmons in practice with Dame? I mean, have you thought about that?
I listen. Do you want to become a championship contender or not?
Look,
Like, do we have anything here?
Look, as Neil always likes to say, no.
Neil does say that a lot. Okay, well, maybe Ben Simmons is going to be staying put in Philadelphia. Maybe we're just out of luck. Before we sign off tonight, we have other news. Let's check back in with Jaclyn to the NFL, where special teams are making a special impact.
You know the old adage, defense wins championships. Well, I think that instead of defense wins championships, it should be field position wins championships. Punters are the most underrated athletes on the football team, and field position is the best way to beat good teams. Super Bowl 53 is a prime example of field position winning games. While it may have been a more boring Super Bowl to some, Ryan Allen and Johnny Hekker put on a punting masterclass, with Johnny Hekker noting a Super Bowl record 65-yard punt. Hekker punted 9 times for 417 yards and pinned the Patriots inside their own 20 5 times. And if the Rams had won that Super Bowl, it would have been an outrage if Hekker hadn't won the MVP. At least an outrage to me. Currently, there is a college punter making history for the brand. Torrey Taylor, the punter for the Iowa Hawkeyes, is a consistent game changer for the team. In the Iowa-Penn State game, Taylor had 5 punts for 398 yards and effectively helped to win his team that game due to field position. And if you don't think that punters are one of the most valuable members of a team, then you are just wrong. The best way to beat a team with a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson is to make sure he starts a drive within his own 10 or 20-yard line. I will always be for the brand, and you should be too.
Well, look at that. Kickers and punters making their way into the same show. That's a wild coincidence.
Hey, you know me. I'm always for the brand, and you know what? I think that all of you should be too, and that is why I wanted to talk about it this week.
That's why you're on the show, just talk about special teams.
Yeah, I'm only on the shows explicitly to talk about special teams. That's it.
Well, maybe we'll talk about other sports next week and just, talk about other sports, period, like soccer. That'd be awesome.
That would be cool, but I think we should just keep talking about special teams. So that's just my opinion. I mean.
Okay. Well, that's your contribution to the show tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it for us tonight. Thank you for watching The Box Score. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at EIV Box Score and also me. And keep your eyes peeled for our next episode for some more red-hot analysis like this. The Arizona Cardinals won't make it past the first round of the playoffs. You just wait. For Jaclyn Galvin, Ben Sher, and Chris Consoli, I'm Sam DeCoste. We'll see you next time. We're out.